Dad, I keep hearing people talk about Chinese cars, and the common thing is always that they're cheap. But honestly, that just makes me wonder, are they actually durable? Or is it more of a use it for a few years and then throw it away kind of deal because of that low price point?
That's a fantastic question, Nila, and it's one a lot of people are asking right now. And to be frank, that perception of cheap and weak was absolutely true for a phase. Maybe 15, 20 years ago when they first started really trying to break into global markets, some of those early models, they weren't exactly built to last. They were often rudimentary, maybe a bit flimsy even.
Right, that's kind of what I picture. Like you buy it, it's a great price, but then you're stuck with endless repairs, or it just falls apart after a few years, making that initial saving not really worth it in the long run.
Exactly. But here's the critical shift. That phase is completely over. Today, when we talk about brands like BYD, Geely, Chery, or even newer players like Neo and Xpeng, they are engineering their cars to global standards. And I mean global standards, often exceeding what we saw even from some European or American brands a decade ago. They're using modern modular platforms, robust materials, and their quality control processes have matured dramatically.
Wow, really? So it's not just a facelift, it's fundamentally different under the hood and in the manufacturing process?
Absolutely fundamental. Think about it. They've had the benefit of observing the entire history of automotive manufacturing. They've invested massively in R&D, poached top engineering talent from around the world, and they've been incredibly aggressive in adopting new technologies. It's not just about building a car, it's about building a globally competitive car. And they are backing this up with things like very long warranties, which is a brand's way of saying we have confidence in what we've built.
That makes sense. A long warranty definitely signals confidence, but then you still hear people say things like, yeah, but it's not a Toyota or it's not a Mercedes. Is that just old school thinking, or is there some truth to the idea that they don't have that long term track record yet?
You've hit on a very important nuance there. While they're engineered to global standards today, and while their durability looks incredibly promising, they do not yet have 20 or 30 years of real world history like a Toyota Land Cruiser or a Mercedes S Class. Those legacy brands have proven their long term resilience across millions of vehicles over decades. So, with Chinese cars, the durability looks promising, but it's not yet proven over that incredibly long time horizon. They're definitely not use and throw, that much is clear, but they are still, in a sense, under observation for that ultimate test of time.
Okay, that's a fair distinction. So promising, but not yet a proven heirloom. Given all this, how are Chinese cars actually changing the global automotive market? Is it just about offering a cheaper alternative, or is there something more profound happening?
Oh, it's far more profound than just a cheaper alternative, Nila. They are fundamentally reshaping the entire industry. The most immediate impact everyone sees is that they are forcing prices down across the board. They offer significantly more features, more technology, more perceived value for less money. This isn't just affecting the budget segment, it's creating pressure even in the mid range.
So basically, they're making everyone else scramble to keep up.
Precisely. Legacy brands are losing market share, especially rapidly in emerging markets where price and features are paramount. But they're also feeling significant pressure in established markets like Europe, where consumers are increasingly looking for value. It's also accelerating EV adoption globally because Chinese manufacturers have made electric vehicles affordable for a much wider segment of the population. Suddenly, an EV isn't just a luxury item, it's becoming a viable everyday option for many families.
That's huge. I mean, if they're making EVs accessible, that's a game changer for environmental goals, right? But also, it sounds like it's really hitting the bottom line for the traditional car makers.
Absolutely. Profit margins of traditional brands are shrinking. This isn't a temporary blip caused by supply chain issues or a passing trend. This is a structural disruption. It's forcing traditional manufacturers to rethink their entire business models from design and manufacturing to pricing and distribution. They have to innovate faster, cut costs, and often, grudgingly, reduce their own profit expectations to compete. The industry will never be the same.
That's a pretty strong statement. The industry will never be the same. But what about the practicalities for the consumer? The spare parts and servicing aspect. That's always been a big concern with any new brand, let alone one from a different market.
That's a very valid concern, and it's something that definitely depends on the specific brand and the country you're in. For major Chinese brands, the ones that are truly committed to international markets, they are rapidly building out their infrastructure. That means local warehouses for spare parts and extensive dealer networks. So if you're looking at a popular model from a well-established Chinese brand in your region, you'll likely find parts availability to be perfectly fine. However, for more obscure imports or brands that haven't fully committed to a robust international presence, you might still struggle a bit.
So stick to the big players if you want peace of mind. But even with them, will getting a part take forever like it used to with some niche imports?
Initially, yes, you might find that parts can take a bit longer to arrive compared to, say, a Toyota, which has a century of supply chain optimization. But here's the thing: as the volume of Chinese cars on the road increases globally, that very volume will naturally fix the problem. Supply chains become more efficient, local stock levels increase, and logistics improve. And again, the warranty coverage helps reduce the early risk. If something goes wrong in the first few years, the brand is obligated to sort it out.
That's reassuring, especially the warranty part. But I'm also thinking about local mechanics. How will this influx of Chinese cars, especially EVs, affect the independent workshops we all rely on? Will they even be able to service them?
This is one of the most significant and unavoidable impacts. Local workshops absolutely must adapt, or they will quite frankly disappear. Chinese cars, especially their EVs, are accelerating a fundamental shift in automotive technology. These aren't your grandfather's cars anymore. They are software heavy vehicles with complex electronics and high voltage battery systems. Traditional mechanics who only know internal combustion engines and basic electrical systems will be left behind.
So it's not just about knowing different car brands, it's about entirely new skills.
Exactly. Mechanics need to acquire high voltage certification, learn advanced diagnostic skills for intricate software systems, and understand the specific architectures of these new vehicles. Independent garages that invest in training their staff, upgrading their equipment, and staying current with these technologies will gain a huge competitive advantage and attract new customers. Those that don't make that transition, well, they'll simply lose relevance as the car park changes. This isn't just a Chinese car phenomenon, it's an EV phenomenon, and Chinese manufacturers are just pushing the accelerator on it.
That's a bit daunting for the workshops, but it makes sense. It's like the shift from carburetors to fuel injection, but on steroids. Speaking of longevity though, will Chinese cars, particularly the EVs, last 20 years like some of those legendary old Toyotas we hear about?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? And the honest answer is no one can definitively prove that yet, simply because they haven't been around for 20 years in significant numbers. But we can make some educated guesses. The chassis and body components are built robustly these days. The powertrain in an EV has far fewer moving parts than an internal combustion engine, so mechanically there's less to wear out.
What about the battery and the electronics though? Those seem like the big unknowns.
You're right, the battery and the integrated electronics are the key elements. Batteries, especially the LFP lithium iron phosphate types commonly used in many Chinese EVs, are designed for very long life cycles and degrade quite slowly. They're proving to be incredibly durable. However, the longevity of the complex software systems and all the integrated electronics across 20 years in varied climates and conditions, that remains an unknown. If maintained well, 12 to 15 years is absolutely realistic for a modern Chinese car. 20 plus years? It's possible, but it's not guaranteed, and the risk is still higher than with an established Japanese brand that has that multi decade track record.
So good for a decade or more, but maybe don't plan on passing it down to your grandkids just yet. That said, are Chinese EVs themselves durable? Can we really trust them, especially with all the battery technology?
Absolutely. Battery durability in Chinese EVs is proving to be strong. As I mentioned, LFP batteries are not only safer due to their chemical composition, but they also degrade very slowly over time and cycles, making them excellent for longevity. The overall build quality of these EVs has also improved sharply. We're talking about robust structures and well finished interiors, often with premium materials.
That's good to hear because I always associate EVs with cutting edge tech, and that can sometimes mean more glitches or unproven features.
You're not wrong to think that. Software bugs do exist, just like in any complex new product, whether it's a smartphone or a car. But the beauty of modern EVs is that many of these bugs are fixable via over the air updates, just like your phone. So, while trust is increasing and developing rapidly, it's fair to say they are technically sound and far from being experimental. They are reliable day to day vehicles.
Okay, so they're solid, but how do Chinese EVs compare with Tesla, which is kind of the benchmark for EVs, right?
That's an excellent comparison point. Tesla still leads in software maturity and the sheer robustness of its charging ecosystem, especially in North America. Their supercharger network is a huge competitive advantage. However, Chinese EVs often win on price and, as we discussed, battery safety, particularly with LFP chemistry. Tesla definitely has better resale value today simply because it's been the dominant player for longer and has a strong brand cachet.
So Tesla for brand and charging, Chinese for value and safety.
Exactly. Chinese EVs often offer significantly more features per dollar, from advanced driver assistance systems to luxurious interior touches that you'd find in much more expensive Teslas or European cars. Performance is actually quite comparable across many models now. The gap between them is narrowing incredibly fast. What Tesla achieves with cutting edge software, Chinese brands counter with aggressive pricing, feature rich packages, and increasingly sophisticated hardware. It's a very dynamic competition.
It sounds like a really exciting time in the car market, especially with EVs. So bringing it all together, should people actually buy Chinese cars right now?
Yes, absolutely, but with your eyes wide open. You need to do your homework, just like you would with any major purchase. Choose established brands that have a proven track record, even if it's only 5 to 10 years, and a solid international presence. Crucially, check the service networks in your region and understand the warranty terms inside out. You should expect strong value, cutting edge technology, and often a very pleasant driving experience, but don't expect the legacy prestige or the 30-year proven track record of a Toyota just yet.
So be smart, do research, and embrace the new. I like it. It's less about the label and more about the actual product and support.
Precisely. The risk reward balance is improving every single year, making them increasingly compelling choices. This isn't just a new option in the market, it's the future of automotive arriving early, shaking things up, and making better technology more accessible to everyone. It's a pretty exciting time to be buying a car, I think.